Welcome, everybody. Come on in. Welcome. So nice to see your beautiful faces. Look at us on Super Bowl Sunday doing something different, doing this. I love it. Hi, everybody. I just lit a candle just to bring you into the vibe. This is the vibe today. You know what? I'm going to put it here so that you can see it. So let's give everyone a second to sign in. And Heidi, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself to say hello to us.
Hello, everybody. That is the vibe. Candle is the vibe. I just did some sage. So we are dropping into Sacred Sunday today.
So Heidi, I'm gonna
Okay.
I'll probably be muting people like I just did, just as we get started. So then when it's your turn or when you want to talk, unmute yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'll just keep muting people just so we try to keep just like a container that's not so distracted. But once people get settled, they'll mute themselves better. So if you're just coming in, there's a couple people. Sometimes it's glitchy and I can't mute everyone. So if you don't mind, if you're just coming in, I think Chris, yes, perfect. And Debbie, if you can mute yourself, that would be awesome. And we're going to get started here really soon. So first of all, I want to invite you to come into this moment. So I'm sure there's maybe a part of you that's still over here in yesterday, thinking about some conversation that happened or how you wanted to do it differently. And some of you are planning tomorrow. Some of you are maybe even thinking about what happened 11 years ago right now, or something triggered you. So that's so normal. So I just want to invite all of us to just arrive here. Yeah. See how that felt different all of a sudden? Yeah. So one way that I like to start any kind of mindfulness practice is to notice my sit bones. So you're like, I never even think about that. Yeah. So right now you might be sitting on a chair, you might be sitting on the floor, you might be sitting cross-legged, it doesn't matter. But see if you can, I'm sitting in a chair, so I'm going to put both of my feet on the ground. Just take a deep breath. Yeah, we're just coming to center. And I would just notice, when I'm sitting in this chair, notice my sit bones. Notice your sit bones. Do you feel the right more than the left? There's no wrong answer, obviously. Do you feel the left more than the right? And then see if you can really let, whether it's the floor or the couch or the chair, see if you could just allow it to carry you more. So, drop into it more. And just notice if you can be equally both sitting in your right and left sit bones, whatever that means. Good. I can already feel the energy just coming to present. Awesome. So just as a simple mindfulness technique, and by the way, whenever I teach anything or speak out anything, I'm my student. So please never feel patronized. We are on this journey together, number one. Number two, many of you probably know so many things about mindfulness. So if I say something you already know that I assume that some of you know a lot. I'm just going through what I know works for me. But when it comes to grounding ourselves, it's really nice to do something tactile. Like what we just did with our sit bones, super simple. You could do that with also a walking meditation, which could be maybe all of 30 seconds, where you could say, okay, I'm standing at the kitchen counter, and from the kitchen counter to the couch, I'm going to notice the ball of my foot and the heel of my foot, and the ball of my foot and the heel of my foot as I walk from the kitchen counter to the couch. And I'm telling you, if you did that for 30 seconds a couple times in your day, it will change your entire day. So just feeling into something physical, like, oh, how do your sit bones feel? It's amazing how that is so good for dropping right out of the mind. gives you something to focus your attention on. And that's really what meditation is. It's focused attention. We traditionally know meditation to be focusing attention on breath, but that's actually quite advanced. And yet we do it. And that's good. It's good to practice doing the thing, right? But you can focus the attention on sound. You could meditate by just listening to the sound of a waterfall and just keep bringing your attention back to that waterfall. One thing I do want to say as we do a little bit of mindfulness and breath work and meditation today is really, if you could, I would love it if you decided that your practice today is going to be practicing not judging yourself. I would really love it if we could use this as a microcosm of how we do everything. And if we could not be result driven today, if we could allow ourselves just a whole lot of compassion and grace. And whether Heidi's leading us in a breath work moment or we are journaling, maybe we can replace the thought of why am I not getting this with, wow, this is just curious. That's so cool. It's different. It's new. Oh my gosh, look how my mind wanders all the time. I want you to get that when you notice your mind wandering, you're doing it. That's literally doing it. You being aware that your mind is racing is you now not being in the blizzard, but noticing the blizzard. And every time you notice the blizzard, you are back in center. You are consciousness. You are the you of you looking at these like interesting thoughts that just do their thing and do their thing. And there is no such person who gets to a point where their mind doesn't move around. But what they do is over time, practicing meditation, they can get really good at watching their mind move around and not feeling that every single thought is a fact and it's true. And therefore, it needs another 11,000 thoughts to go with it that make me feel more of what that made me feel. That's the goal. The idea of like, I bet Deepak Chopra sits down and has a blank mind. Well, he would be dead. Like that's not where we're going. So there's no such thing as a bad meditation. A meditation is purely, could we just for a second notice the thoughts like clouds passing in the sky and have empathy for ourselves and start to see ourselves as the observer looking in through the window rather than the thought itself. We identify with these thoughts as if we are these thoughts. And we just want to get some space in there, get some space and move aside a little bit and go, oh, I'm here. One metaphor I like for this, which some of you may have heard me say, my mindfulness teacher used to say, it's an ocean. And what she means is if you look out at the ocean, type a one in the chat if you can picture your favorite place to look at the ocean. And you can just like think of it. Oh, it's so good. It's so beautiful. Yeah, we moved to South Florida in the middle of the pandemic after being in LA for 18 years because being in a Zoom room with 3 kids, after a while, I'm like, I need the ocean. I need it now. And it wasn't available in LA. So we came back here because I grew up here. Anyways, ocean is great. I'm in the ocean at least 3 to 4 times a week. So here's the thing about the ocean. You want to know the thing about it? Okay, I'll tell you the thing about it. When you look at the ocean, it's moving constantly. And depending on the way the wind blows and the pull of the moon, the ocean is in motion. But here's the thing, my friends. What we forget is that if you go down into the ocean, you're no longer looking out at the ocean, you go into the ocean. If you drop in 5 feet, it's stillness. If you drop in 40 feet, it is so still. If you go down, my friends, and you could, a mile, oh my God, doesn't that like scare you to think of it? You can do that. It's so still and it's so quiet that it can literally burst your eardrum because it's deafeningly still and quiet. Imagine for a second that you are the ocean. It's such a great metaphor. We are the ocean inside. And therefore, if you were sitting in the ocean, down in the ocean, 10 feet, 20 feet, 100 feet, for as far as the eye can see, you see this heavy, still body of water, so heavy and so still. Talk about an anchor. It's like, boom. You look up at the surface, you're going to see that top layer is like gurgling, bubbling, choppy, windy, right? Okay. That's the most superficial aspect of the ocean, is that top level. The majority of the ocean, 99.9% of the ocean, is the stillness. So still. That's us. The integrity of our constitution of who we are is so still and so whole and so grounded. And yet, we're constantly looking at the mind and we identify with the mind, which is the most scratch the surface, superficial first part of our entire life force, being, entity, soul, body, even literally. Notice how you've survived 100% of your worst days. How so? Because, and we don't need to rehash, but we know whenever that moment comes that you were hoping never would, and it does come, we've all had moments like that where you anticipated it, you wind up in the moment. And when you're actually in the moment, you go, somehow I'm getting through this. Correct. Because the well-being that is within reach at all times is massive. We are designed for well-being. We are so good. It's like a weeble wobble, but they don't fall down. That's the human. That's us. It's incredible. When we identify with the top layer of this ocean, we get pulled out of center and we're going in the wrong direction because it's an illusion that that's who we are. It's just thoughts. They just constantly, your brain is constantly coming up with different ways of thinking because there's stimulus everywhere. A thought can come from a sound, a smell, a memory, someone's name. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, it's beautiful. It's funny. It's interesting. It's curious. Unless you're constantly identifying in it and you're in it, and you're not looking at it. You're just in it. Not good, not fun, very dysregulating. We're not taught this, but the more we look into brain science and we understand the mind, we can get this. We can get this. And then we get the door. We get the doors wide open to our life. The last thing I just want to say is I interviewed Priyanka Chopra on Friday or Thursday, Friday. And she is luminous. She's intoxicating. And I said to her, I never say this because I'm not going to patronize you. I'm only going to say it because it's true. You are my single favorite guest on this show. And I said to her, I didn't even really know much about you other than the fact that you're stunning. But I agreed to have you on because, I don't know, I thought my audience might think you're cool. She's incredibly cool. And I said, what it is about you isn't, it's just the resonance. Fire resonance. I said, what is that? Let's talk about that. I said, because you know what you know that you know. And she said, my parents are doctors, military doctors. And when I was a child, they always asked me my opinion. And so when I was an adult, I felt that I could stand in the room with another person and have my own opinion. And it didn't dawn on me that I should feel that I don't belong anywhere. And I owe them like so much, because they always would say, well, what do you think? What do you think? And they would never shame me or laugh at me. They want to know, what do you think? And that's just the way it was. And when she won, she did a fluke thing, which was do the Miss India pageant, and she won. And she said to them, why did you pick me? And they said, your energy, confidence, but real confidence. And she's so humble and she's so down to earth. And she was extremely accessible. And we became like friends, like in the course of an hour, because the conversation was so easy and yummy and relaxed. And she said, this is the door to the future. The future that you want, that you're dreaming of, it's not out here, it's in here. And when you drop into it, the thing that you need that's going to open the door to that future, whatever you want, that job you want, the money you want to make, the guy you want to be with, it's all in this ocean inside, sinking down, 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 down deep into you. And when that authenticity is felt, it's just boom, right? When Matthew McConaughey was on the podcast, he told me he was in law school, very much not wanting to stay in law school. And he was going to quit law school. And he started acting, and he had done like one hand modeling commercial. And he went with his friend to the top of the Hyatt Hotel, and they had drinks. His friend was a bartender there. And there was a guy at the end of the bar who was in town in Texas producing a movie. And Matthew has fire energy. It's fire. It's lit. He's there. He's all there. And he starts having drinks with this guy at the end of the bar. And they start doing shots, and they start to consume each other's vibration. And it's great. And it just is. And the guy says to him, do you act? Do you do any acting? And he goes, I do. I do acting. And he like just started. And he says, meet me tomorrow at this address. You're awesome. I'm going to give you a sides, which is like a little script. And he's like, let's do it. And he goes down, and he's there a couple of days early, and it's Dazed and Confused. And he's supposed to be an extra in the movie. And he gets to the set, and the director looks at him and he goes, oh, you're playing that guy who's going to walk on for 1 second. Why are you here today? And he goes, oh, I've never been on a movie set before, and I want to come check it out. And he goes, you look good. Cool. He goes, hey, guys, hang on a second. He goes, you see that girl? Would you ever hit on her? And he goes, like hell I would. Sure. I like her. Sure. Of course I would hit on her. And he goes, great. Put a mic on, get in that car, and come on to set. And he gets in the car. And he goes, what's happening? He's never been on a movie set. They're like, I think the director's like putting you in this scene, but you don't have any lines. Just make it up. And he's like, okay. So he's like sitting in this car, and he goes, who am I playing? He's like, you're going to play a guy who's going to pick up that girl right there. And he goes, I sat in the car, Kathy, and I thought, who is this character? He goes, this character's about 3 things. He likes hot chicks, smoking weed, and awesome cars. He goes, they said action. And I literally looked around and thought, all right, well, he's got a hot chick, an awesome car, and he's probably smoking a joint. They roll action. He pulls up next to this woman and he goes, all right, all right, all right. And the director goes, that was amazing. Can you come back tomorrow? I'm writing you in. And that was his whole career. And I'm telling you what, this is life. Drink it. Drink from it. Take it. This is it. It's not in the spreadsheets. It's not about working hard. It's about showing up. And the work we're going to do today. And by the way, Heidi and I have been doing this behind the scenes for a couple of years together. She's a really good friend of mine. and she's definitely a spirit guide for me. And we both do very similar work. And she has a program called Magnetic where she helps. It's all about manifesting. It's all about it. She has a degree from University of Santa Monica in spiritual psychology. She also built a multi-million-dollar business, and she has great fashion sense, and she's a good mom, and she's a good friend of mine. So that's why she's here. So what we're doing today, it feels good because it is good. And it's part of a program about finding your life's work, because your life's work is unleashed by dropping in to your highest vibration. Oh, Heidi also went with me to the Joe Dispenza week that I told you guys I did. And I really only went because Heidi said, "You're coming to meet me there, right?" I'm like, "Absolutely." So that's my intro for today. And Heidi, I'm now going to turn it over to you. So thank you for being here.
Oh my goodness. I am so happy to be here with all of you. And I don't know about you all, but just listening to Kathy's voice, like when she is just in her zone, it just soothes the soul, right? Like I'm just like, oh, thank you for just allowing us to all drop in here together. And one of the things that I was thinking, because she was sharing, the sit bones and the grounding, and that felt so good. And one of the things that I love to do to just tune in to everyone's energy, especially you all are now just exhaled, is do what I call a 2-word check-in. And that's just you're going to put your hand over your heart and maybe just close your eyes right now. Just take a deep breath. And just check in. You don't need to make this up. It just comes to you. What are 2 words that are describing how you're feeling right in this moment? And you can just drop those in the chat. And sometimes they make sense together and sometimes they're complete opposite. And whatever it is, it's perfect. Amazing. I love it. Great, guys. So as Kathy said, Kathy is one of my dear friends. We have been like bouncing and swarming and pushing each other and supporting each other to grow and elevate over the last couple of years. And I'm so honored and excited to be here with you guys. And my intention today is to really support you with some tools. You're going to be getting so many tools in me to do this, and to just layer on whatever I can when our minds want to dip into the who am I can't, I'm not sure, I'm going out of my comfort zone. When our minds start to go into those old patterns, it's really nice to go, okay, I've got this tool like right here, so I can just come back into whatever vibration I'm calling in, wherever, coming back more into center. And so to actually give you some physical, tangible tools, and then to also support you in really embodying it and to really feel. And like Kathy said, to kind of create more energy in our space. And we're going to do that through breath work today. So if you're new to breath work, don't worry. I'm going to walk you through the whole process, and I'm going to hold a really beautiful container for us to all drop in together for breath work. And if you have done it before, every single time I do it, there's new awarenesses, there are new growth. Just come to it with a beginner's mind. So like Kathy said, I am a mom. I'm a coach. I run my own programs. I feel like we come from a similar vibration and resonance, and that's why Kathy and I like just connect so much. And yet at the core, we're really, really different, and we have different approaches. And so, just was thinking like, how grateful I am just to be here with all of you, and I don't know about you guys, but maybe you're going to watch the Super Bowl, but I'd so much rather be in the Sacred Sunday and dropping in and watching the Super Bowl today. And the fact that all of you are showing up for this and for yourselves right now, it just shows how ready you are and how you have already said yes. Like you have said yes to the transformation, to your next level, to your wherever it is that you want to go. And that speaks so highly of where you're going. And I remember 3.5 years ago when I looked at my husband and said, I can no longer do what I'm doing. We were God, thank God I was running a successful company in real estate. And yet part of me just felt like I was dying. It felt like I cannot do this anymore. So whether you've joined Made to Do This because you are just on your knees going, I cannot do what I'm doing anymore. I need to change. I need to do things differently. And or there's some part that's like, I'm not quite sure. And I'm playing in this, and we're going to see, and we're going to swirl, and we're going to figure out what my purpose is and how I want to show up. Like, you are here. So you're about to go on a wild ride with Cathy Heller over the next 12 weeks. And I cannot wait to see you guys on the other side of this. And yes, it is happening. It has already happened. And so what we're going to be talking about today is that how so much of wherever it is that you want to go is simply about making a decision and having your intention. Where are you going? What is that endpoint that you're putting into GPS? Where are you setting your directions to? And we don't always have to, everyone can just mute themselves when they come in. If we don't have to know the how, right? How many times have you guys felt like, I know the vision, or I can potentially see myself, or I feel that inner intuition, or I feel that like spirit, source, God, something is knocking on my door and saying, I think you're supposed to do this. And we just can't quite see all of the steps, and we don't know every road and every direction. And so we stop ourselves before we even get started. And what I have found in my own life, and now walking hundreds of women through building lives, and sometimes businesses, sometimes not businesses, but just building lives that are more in alignment, is that we don't have to know the how. Just let that go. And for the next hour, however long we're together, I'm going to invite you to let go of knowing every single signpost and right and left along the way, and to really get into the resonance of what is in my heart. What is it that I desire? So 3.5 years ago, 15 years ago, I saw this woman stand on stage, and she was in her like blue suit, and there was 10 women in this small little office in Beverly Hills. And she talked about building wealth and like mindset and some other things. And I thought, I was, 24 years old. And I walked out of the room that day and I thought, I'm supposed to do what she's doing. Well, it took me a while. It took me a while to get to that point of I was actually ready, because it was just 4 years ago that I finally looked at my husband and I said, I cannot sell another apartment building. Like, I am dying right now, being kind of in this box. And I would look at the Gabby Bernsteins and the Marie Folios and the Cathy Hellers when Cathy Heller wasn't around, 5-10 years ago. She wasn't who she is today. And I would think, how are they doing what they're doing? And like building this beautiful empire and making all this money and transforming lives. I feel like I'm just supposed to be happy doing what I'm doing and selling real estate. And eventually I know I'll have a kid, and like, that just needs to be enough. And yet there was just this like inner like bubble up of, I know that there's more. If you guys have that feeling of, I know there's more, let's see a 1 in the chat, because it's like, I know that we are so all in this together. Yeah. Yeah. And this Made to Do This program and the work that like we're all doing in the world, like, that's you answering the call. And so much of this is coming more into the resonance of that, like of that feeling, of that where it is that you want to go, right? So the question becomes, how do I get there? How do I get there, Heidi? How do I get there, Cathy? How do I get into that resonance? So I take a 2-pronged approach. Okay. So the first is aligning your mind, aligning your thoughts, aligning your beliefs, aligning your perspectives. I know that Cathy just drilled this into you guys, during the challenge week. We have dominion over our thoughts. We have dominion over how our beliefs. So it's starting to work that process. Okay. It's starting to move up. I'm going to just take one pause and tell you guys that part of me manifesting right now is manifesting this gorgeous little beach cottage that we're staying in. And there's no office space. So if you guys hear some extra sounds right now, it's my kids coming in from the beach and transitioning to nap. So just
Can't even hear it right now.
okay, great, awesome. I can hear it. So lost my train of thought for a second. They're coming in. So part of this process is really setting the intention to align with the vibration, right? Getting clear on where we're going. And I'm going to take you through a meditation of starting to drop in for that. The second part of this is that wherever you are right now, current environment, and wherever it is that you're going, there's a gap. So as you start going towards this gap, saying yes to me to do this, starting to take some action, starting to get clarity, putting yourself out there, getting out of your comfort zone, starting to set boundaries with your time, right? Starting to learn to have more compassion and empathy, all of those pieces, what naturally is going to happen is there's going to be the old stuff. We never have to go searching for this. It naturally comes. It comes up when it's ready to heal. We start to move through that. We start to feel through that. We start to let go of that baggage that we've been dragging around for so long. And so the first part is this piece of like, where am I going? What's the decision? What's the intention? What's that vibration that I'm going to hold, right? And then that next piece is like, as you start moving towards that, because when you make a decision that you're going there, the universe is going to meet you there. And the universe is going to say, all right, Rebecca, all right, Karma, all right, Trixie, all right, Beth, all right, Kristen, we are going up. And you start stripping stuff away. And that may be relationships. That may be old ways of being. That may be ways that you have been telling stories to yourself of why you can't show up and why you can't go live on Instagram and why you're not good enough and why everyone else is doing it. All the bullshit, right? We all have the bullshit. So as those things come up, that's when we have choice. That's where God says, here we go, handing to you on a silver platter awarenesses, new, oh, I'm doing that thing again. I'm being the neutral observer. I'm seeing myself do this. Are we going to hold on to it because it's our comfort zone? We're going to stick into it. It's like, it's comfortable. It will be tempting. Or are we going to go, fuck, this is like hard to feel and hard to say no to, but I'm going to let this go. And sometimes there's going to be a lot of sadness or tears in that. Sometimes you're going to feel anger and frustration with yourself or others. There's going to be parts of you that want to project onto somebody else. Well, he made me do it, and she did this, or da 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 da, right? And that's where you get to drop in and come back home to yourself and come back home to your intention and come back home to your inner knowing to this is where I am going. And here we go, spirit. All right. So, this is just one of this, the breath work is just one of the many tools that can support you in starting to really learn how to, in a healthy way, really healthy way, let go of some of that resonance and some of that emotion that's ready to be released. So we're going to dive into that. I read a quote just the other day from Wayne Dyer that said, heaven on earth is a choice you make, not a place that you find. Heaven on earth is a choice you make, not a place you must find. There's no searching that needs to happen here. This is actually about taking off the layers and becoming more and more and more of who you truly are. And Kathy has been such a support system for me personally in taking a stand. For Heidi, there's more in there. Heidi, you have more to say. Heidi, you have more light to shine. And it was like, I'm scared. I'm so scared. But who am I not to? And who are all of you not to, right? Because like when you do it, whatever the thing is, the trinket, the coaching, the whatever, the service, when you start gifting that out into the world to one person, that's how I started. One person who needs my service, who needs what I have to offer, and then it becomes two, and the next thing you know, it's like, wait, there may be 5 people here, and then 30, and then 50, and then et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's simply by being more and more and more of yourself. It's like the more you do that, the more you come into the resonance of that, like, God is working through me. And people will say, how, like, what are you even saying? I don't remember anything I say. Cause it's just like, it's just like, you can just then become more of a channel. So where are all of you guys going? Right. And this is not a painting a perfect picture. This is not a having it all figured out. This is a dropping into your heart and really asking yourself, what would it look like? This is a big question. What would it look like to create my version of heaven on earth? So I want you to all journal on that for a second. And like any part of you that's like, ooh, like just let your heart speak. Okay? What would heaven look like for me on earth? Who would I be around? How would you be spending your time? And we're all really complex, layered humans. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. Some of us are moms. Some of us want a vacation. Some of us want to be of high service. Some of us want to give back in major ways. Some of us want to adorn ourselves with luxury goods. There's no right or wrong here. So just jot down like heaven on earth. Whew. Drinking that in. And write some down, some tangible things. Like what would you see around you with your eyes? Like what would like your physical senses see with heaven on earth? Would you be near an ocean? Would you be near a mountain? Would you have the abundance to travel the world? What would you smell? In your version of heaven on earth? What would you touch? I'm a sucker for luxury goods, like this cashmere sweater. Like it feels so good. It feels so abundant, right? Wearing it. It's like, yeah, I want to feel abundant. I want to feel elegant. What would you hear? Do you hear kids playing in the background or grandkids? Are you someone that needs a lot of quiet and space? Now I want you to drop in your heart. What would you feel? Like, not physically feel with your hands. How would it feel? Feel alive and freeing. And ecstatic. And joyful. And connected. When you guys are ready, write down in the chat a few of those things that heaven on earth would feel like. I want to see some of those words that you guys are going after. Yeah, light, good. Peace. Freeing. Yeah. Peaceful, expansive, fulfilled. Yes. 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 And my loves, like, that's like, so it's like, this building businesses, building lives, it's like resources, money, like, all building wealth is so layered. It is wealth is mental wealth, it's emotional wealth, it's spiritual wealth, it's physical healthy wealth, and it's also financial wealth. So think of all of those ways that you could all like start now, start feeling wealthy in your life today, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. And if you have big aspirations to build an amazing, abundant, wealthy business, it's like you start with all of these layers. And you start looking, how can I feel wealthy today? How can I feel expansive and abundant right in this moment with what I have right now? And being in that energy field, being in that vibration, that naturally starts taking you up that vibrational field. That naturally starts raising your frequency, and you become more and more and more resonant to opportunities, to clarity, to dropping in to what's next in my business and who's my ideal client and what's the offer and what's the pricing, right? All of those things, they come when you're like, I'm going, the future, like I know where it is that I'm going. And then those are just all of the details. So let's together drop into what that future self could look like. Okay. And so what I'm going to have you do is put your pens down if you're still writing. You can totally pick this up later. I love those of you that are still going. And yeah, take a deep breath. And if your legs are like crossed or anything, just uncross them. If you can get both feet on the floor, that's great. But you also don't have to if you're sitting cross-legged, like in there's no right or wrong way. Just I like you to be as grounded as possible. Just go ahead and close your eyes with me and just take a deep breath through the nose. And then exhale it out. Inhale through the nose. Feel the belly rise. Feel the heart expand. And exhaling it out. Turning your palms up, getting into a bit more of a receiving position. Just feeling yourself dropped in. You guys are in a calm place. Focusing your attention on your sixth chakra, which is the point right in between your eyebrows, your third eye. And just focusing your attention there. Taking a few breaths. Really focusing your attention as best as you can right in that spot. Slowing your breath down a little bit more. Dropping in a little bit deeper. And in your mind's eye, I want you to ask that your future self begin to show herself to you or himself to you. Just ask, him or her to come forward. There's no forcing or rushing or anything, just allowing her to come forward. And as she begins to walk towards you, I want you to acknowledge her. Just say hello. Thank her for coming. Begin noticing what you are aware of with her. This is your future self. This is a higher frequency part of yourself than that's currently playing out in physical world reality. So just noticing her. Maybe her shoulders are a little bit further back. Maybe they're a little dropped down. She's holding her head a bit higher. She has more energy, a little bit more pep in her step. Maybe you notice that she has a smile on her face. And just thanking her for coming. Notice what she's wearing, noticing how she presents herself, noticing how she walks towards you. And then begin to be aware of her surroundings. What's the environment like? And just really take a look around and notice how whatever environment she's in, her home, her office, on vacation, notice how elevated it feels. Notice how good it feels. So just really allowing yourself to enjoy being with your future self. And again, not forcing, not needing, but just being open. Ask if there's anything that she wants to tell you right now. She may have words. She may have an image that she wants to show you. There may be a feeling that she just wants to transmit to you. Receiving it. Being open to whatever it is. And thanking her. Thanking her for the wisdom, thanking her for the information. Not needing to do anything with it, just receiving it. So in your own way, thank her, him right now. And let him or her know that you'll be back. You'll be back to visit her. And then coming fully back into your own body. Just kind of wiggling your fingers and your toes. And just noticing, you can take a minute. If there was anything there, again, no need to force, no need to make something happen. But if something came forward, just jotting it down. So that is part of the reaching for the higher branch, right? She or he is available to every single one of us. And yeah, someone says I love her. I bet. I bet she's incredible, right? And powerful. And did you guys feel like a little bit of like weight lifted off? It's like, "Oh my gosh, why am I like lugging my whole physical body and all of my emotions and all of my thoughts and all of this stuff through time and space every single day?" It's like, it's exhausting, right? It's so exhausting. And like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. It's so much more fun living there. And we can. It is a possibility. We just have to choose to like drop some of that drama and drop some of that old story. So it's like, that's a decision. It's a decision that we can make, that every single one of you can make, that I'm going to live in there. I'm going to live from that resonance. I'm going to live in that vibration. And when those things one of the metaphors I use is like, we've all got a backpack. And the question is, how heavy is yours? How many bricks do you have in that backpack? Every time that you set a loving boundary, every time that you make a decision, every time that you say, you know what, I'm not going to repeat that old pattern. Every time I'm not going to listen to my mom or my husband or whatever, that's not possible. You are dropping a backpack. And for most of us, there's just a cup, not the whole backpack, you're dropping a brick. For most of us, there's just like a couple of bricks that are those core wounds that when we're able to get in there and pull those bricks out from like the pyramid, it just starts to fall off. And you watch and feel yourself rise up and your frequency starts getting higher and higher. So we're going to move into the breathwork process, and there is no right or way wrong. There's no right or wrong way to do this process. There is no, it should happen. Like there's a lot of space and a lot of permission for you guys to all move through this breath work and experience and feel whatever it is that you're going to feel. Okay. So I'm going to explain, I'm going to give you some direction, give you some instructions, and then we'll practice it together, and then we will lay down. Kathy, was there any introduction to them in terms of the laying down part or what they're going to be doing, or no?
No,
No. Okay, my loves.
not yet.
So
I figure
okay,
we do
great,
it now.
perfect. So we're going to do that, and so I'll give you the instructions first. So breath work is it's an active meditation that is amazing for us Westerners, and those, we all have very, very, very busy minds that go, 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 go. And so if you weren't able to drop into that meditation, if you weren't able to see your future self, that's fine, no problem. It's all good. Breath work is a 3-part breath that just uses the breath to start turning down that roller coaster, that constant wheel, and you're able to drop into your body and drop into your heart space. Oftentimes, what's going to happen is that there's going to be part of you, there's going to be that brain, there's going to be that mind that wants to resist actually dropping in. So know that the first 5 minutes of the breath work is going to be the work phase. Okay. There's going to be part of you that's like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. There might be some of you right now that are like, holy shit, what are we about to do? I think I may just bounce right now. Stick with me. I promise this is going to be so worth it and so juicy. So just stick with me and hold here. And on the other side of this, you're going to go, oh my God, I'm so happy we just did that. So the first 5 minutes, there's going to be some resistance. And after that, the breath will start breathing you. Okay. So the breath is going to look like this. Everyone give themselves a little jaw massage right now. Yep. It's an open mouth breath. So you can just kind of, right? Do a little, maybe you want to move your body around a little bit right now. Get into your body a little bit. There you go. Move your neck around a little bit. All right, there we go. We're starting it right here. Perfect. Beautiful. So you're gonna be laying down, and I'll give you guys a minute or two, to get yourself situated if you're on your desk or whatnot right now. If possible, just because I see some of you doing it, if you are able to lay on the floor and not be on a couch or a bed, that is preferred, just so that you're on a hard surface. And before you start maneuvering everywhere you're going to go, I want to take you through the breath for a second and give you the instructions, and then you guys can all get situated. I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Okay. So enjoy.
May the long time sun shine upon you. Oh, love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. Oh, love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way on. May the long time sun shine upon you. Oh, love surround you, and the pure light within you guide your way on. Guide your way
Beautiful. Beautiful work, my friends. So as you're slowly coming back into your body and finding your way to the computer. Good, good job. I'm so proud of you. A lot of people are asking about tingling. So here's the thing. When our body is awake, when we become awake to the energy that can flow through our entire bodies, there's parts of our bodies that go, whoa, whoa, I am waking up. Okay, so that tingling, just be with it. Just be with it. If you feel dizzy or out of sorts, that's okay. That's your frequency actually rising. We don't have to be so tethered to our body, our physical bodies, all the time. So, for anyone who is asking, it was about 25 minutes or so that you were active there. So I do want to just address, yeah, for people that, if there's a lot of emotions here, you were just cracked open. Okay? Like that's emotion, that is energy, that is a releasing. And so, like an ocean, like Kathy said, we're all oceans. Emotions can just be the waves. They're right on the top. They're on the surface, and they come in and they feel intense, and then they flow out. And just like a set, for any of you guys that are familiar with surfing, the sets come in and it feels kind of intense, and then there's no sets for a while. So, if any of you feel like a little bit nervous or scared about the amount of emotions that are coming forward, you can just really, I would encourage you to really ground yourself. So that means, just you can start drinking a lot of water. Water, super grounding. You guys are going to find that you may be really hungry tonight. If you're craving like meat or chicken, like that's actually really normal and can support you in grounding and getting back into your body. You can also, I wanted to show this to you, another grounding technique. You can actually just kind of massage. If any of you guys, if you're super emotional right now, just give your legs like a massage, and it's really presencing, and you can actually put your feet just right on the ground, and it's like, I'm here. Go out and stand in some grass. You can lay in grass. So those are all techniques to really ground yourself back into your body. I'm just going to kind of scroll through here. Lots of water, normal to feel kind of like woozy. I like to do these on the weekends and on Sundays, and because you may feel a little weird for several hours. Like, that's okay. That's okay. Kathy, you want to, I don't know, I just maybe open, you're good? Okay, I just want to
Yeah.
check in with you.
No, I
Okay.
just wanted to, it's so beautiful. And I'm so grateful that you all received it and allowed space for breath work. And Heidi, you're just such an incredible vessel. And there's just such a humility in you and such a loving, endearing comfort in your energy. So thank you for that. Um, Everything you did also leading up to it was beautiful, as it always is. I just wanted to share my thought, which is that so I've done as many of the things as I can possibly do to have an awakening. And I love when Heidi talks about waking up, right? Like you want to wake up. And the more Heidi and I both have studied Joe Dispenza's work and spent time with him, you really learn that we are just running a program every day. And routine lulls the brain to sleep. And we literally are asleep. And it sucks when you get that. And then it's also so awesome when you get that, because you're like, I don't want to be asleep for this. I don't want to run a program that every day I just habitually do this. Then I get my coffee and I'm not really there at all. I'm just running a program, feeling the same memorized emotion, living in the same state, therefore experiencing the same world, the same feeling. And there's no elevation. There's nothing new. There's no breakthrough. That is literally how most people wire themselves to live their whole life. So it's so beautiful to wake up. And I just wanted to say, for me, I've tried so many things to wake up, from obviously traditional therapy to yoga to meditation to studying in Jerusalem, learning spirituality and mysticism, like anything I can get my hands on, Reiki, craniosacral work, like I've done, and I continue to do all of those things. Like it's a composite of all of those things. It's interesting, actually. I've been able to really let go of therapy in the last like 3 years with like such a degree of depth of a breakthrough in meditation and breath work. And I actually have a lot of interesting feelings now about therapy, because it's interesting to just keep telling your story over and over. I find that really fascinating. I'm not sure my personal opinion on that right now has definitely changed. In any case, what I notice in breath work is that every single time I've done it, I always cry at some point, and I'm never forcing it. And by the way, I'm always not wanting to do the breath. Like I don't like it. I actually, and then when Heidi's like, come on, I know you can do this, you're thinking to yourself, she's literally asking me to lay down and breathe. And it's this effing hard. What is she asking me to do? Crunches? What is she asking me to do? Triathlon? No. She's saying, can you just lay your body effing down and breathe? And it's so hard. And it's because we don't breathe. We just don't. We're not used to breathing. In any case, what I always notice about the breath at some point is it reminds me of birth, because I have 3 kids. And it is a birth. It's a birth of the new self. It's a birth of you, and you're coming through, and there it is. And what I would say about the tears or the anger or the things that just start coming out, you don't need to make it mean anything. What it literally means is there is a collection in this big jar of feelings you most likely weren't present for at the time to the degree they needed to be felt. And when you finally slow down and breathe, they start coming out. They go, oh, here I am. I needed to just be like released from that bottled up mason jar that's overflowing. And you go, oh, I don't even know why I'm like just sobbing right now, or I don't even know why, but I'm reminded of this memory, and it hits you like it's the most familiar, unfamiliar feeling. And you're like, I'm right in that specific nuanced place. And as Joe Dispenza says, change your energy, change your life.
Yeah.
Change your energy, change your whole effing life. And what I also always get somewhere in the middle to the end of breath work is it's already done.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, please come be welcome to your life of your dreams. Whenever you're ready to let go, please be welcome. And so it is. And so it is, right? Like Heidi was talking about looking years ago, how did this person get to be there? How did it's like now we're both doing that, right? Now we both have platforms and podcasts and book deals and this. It's like, what was the entry ticket? This work.
Raising our hand.
Raising the hand and going, in spite of
Yes.
the resistance, in spite
Yes.
of all those old things that want to keep me back in the program, I know that I'm going to be welcome, and I'm opening this gate. And that energetic Watch what happens when you start to not say what you would like to do or complain about what you're not doing, when you just say what you're doing and you are, and it just is, not because of what you remember to do, but because of who you remember to be. Who you remember to be. Remember your future. Remember yourself, who you actually are. Keep going back to her. Keep going back to her. And then you know what happens? You just pull your future to you. You don't have to go move through time and space and have the most amazing funnel email sequence. That is not where it is. It's in here. It's like, how did this girl who didn't wear the retainer, who didn't have the coolest, anything, nothing, no straight A's, C student, nothing. How am I sitting in? How is it that Matthew McConaughey texts me? Why is that happening? Do you think there's anything that I could do to make that happen? I could be someone, though, right? And that's where we all meet on an even plane in energy. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else is impressive anyway. How many degrees, how many zeros in your bank account would it take to impress a person who has incredible energy, who you want to be having dinner with, who you want to play chess with, who you want to grow from? Nothing. Nothing's going to impress them except for you. Step into it. And I love when Heidi was like, fight for it. Like, how badly do you want it? When you're not even able to let yourself breathe because you might start to feel things and you go, no, I'm going back for the breath, right? You felt that. You're like, yeah, I'm not just going to keep sitting in this. Is this the best I got? This is the best for me. I know I can overcome this program. This program, you're going to look at it and say, not today, my friend, not today. I'm coming for you. I am coming for you. You're not holding me down, right? It's already done. And I always say to Heidi, whenever she has a breakthrough, because we're both always having a breakthrough nonstop, it's always like a kaleidoscope. You just keep clicking it and the picture turns ever so slightly, but it's a whole different reality. Yes. And every time that happens, I say to her, and so it is. And so it fucking is. It is done. And it is done. And it is done. I just can't tell you a small example of this. My husband has been an attorney. He's been a lawyer. He went to UCLA and USC and back to UCLA for business school. He's a smarty pants. He was a lawyer. He worked as vice president of Fox Sports Legal, Business and Legal. He was VP of Business and Legal for 20 years. They got bought by Disney. Good timing. I was doing great in my career. I said, you don't need to work. Good, great. What has he always wanted to do? Write comedy. He never wanted to be a lawyer, but he was afraid because he had a whole story about how hard it would be, how difficult it would be. Can I tell you something that happened today? Who wants to hear it? Okay. I've been saying to him since he left, just start saying, I write comedy. And he goes back into his logical, analytical, well, this is never going to happen because I've already looked at how many people are on staff at Conan, Fallon, blah, 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 blah. There'd have to be this many layoffs. It would never happen. They're going to want to choose a woman, a diverse, whatever. Why would they want a guy? They don't want me. I'm like, whenever you're ready, let that go. Like, we'll wait. But whenever you're ready, you can let all that go and just drop into it 100%. So we've been talking about it. And you want to know what happened today? Today is Super Bowl Sunday. If you're vice president of Fox Sports, what do you think you're usually doing on Super Bowl Sunday? Sports stuff, right? Not this year. You know what happens, my friends? What happens is he started posting consistently writing things constantly, Twitter, Instagram, without worrying about what's going to happen. Not worried about the fact that no one knows who he is. And he gets a message. This is just a small but not small thing. He gets a message yesterday from Hanes, like Hanes Her Way, like Hanes, the clothing brand. and they took his joke. They text him, "Can we use this?" Him, who has like no one knows what I'm doing. He wrote this joke on Twitter. That's him. And it says, "There's no way I'm going to let COVID-19 change my annual game day party tradition. As always, I'm going to watch the game alone." That's his joke, because that is whatever. And they posted it, put it on their account, and wrote this: "Be like Lowell. Don't let COVID ruin another one of your traditions. Stay in your underwear and avoid sharing your wings with anyone else." And like, it's all over their, it's him. I go, that's the first time in life that anyone's ever said the sentence, "Be like Lowell." There's like, be like Jen, be like Kimberly. Like, if you go to their thing, it's all him. It's just him. It's Super Bowl Sunday, and everything's directing them to him right now. And I'm like, that's just so weird, isn't it? I don't get it, right? How do you know? You don't know what you don't know. So stop playing God. Stop doing his job. Let it go. Move out of there. That's not your job. You drop all the way in. You just go for it and watch it. It's so much easier and so much cooler and so much less effort. And it just comes boop right into your inbox, boop right into your phone, boop. Your best friend goes, "Oh, you want to go to Joe Dispenza?" Heidi and I would not have been there. I happened to move to Florida thinking, I'm going back to Florida. She's like, "Hey, the advanced retreat, it's a week long. It's 2 hours from me." I'm like, and I'm there. Oh, and was it on my husband's birthday? And he was like, "I don't want to go." I go, "It's a birthday present. Sorry, you're coming." A week, Joe Dispenza. It's so easy. It's all been done. If you step in, I feel like, Heidi, when you talk about the resistance and all those old beliefs, I feel like it's like Red Rover. I feel like it's like there's this part of us that's like, no, 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 no. And it's like, could you just crack open an inch? Could you just? And then there's your whole life. And it's awesome.
Yes.
Does
Yes.
anybody want to process any of what you just felt?
And Kathy, can I, while you're doing that, I'm just going to answer a couple questions that keep coming back up in the chat. So you guys can do this breath work daily. There's no, there's no rhythm of that. Kathy and I know people that really attribute doing this breath work to curbing addictions, really healing from deep trauma. I don't teach this regularly. I just teach it in my courses, and then for some of my friends in their courses. I do recommend Jason Amoroso with Revelation Breathwork. He is a friend of mine. We've been through similar training together, getting our masters. He is such a light and the real deal, and he is like breath work through and through. And I think he teaches like 4 or 5 classes a week, so feel free to go check him out. If you guys, I maybe can get this to one of Kathy's team members, and they can put it in there's lots of questions about the playlist. I am on Spotify. If you want to find me there, it says "Made to Do This," Kathy Heller. So it's right there, and you can get it there. But again, I'll get it to somebody. And I think those were like the main. People were asking if it was recorded, and Kathy, we haven't talked about this. I actually asked for these not to be recorded and for them to not be replayed. So just because it is for anyone that was on camera and breathing, it is a vulnerable thing. So maybe
We
I'll
can
just get in touch
cut. We
with your
can
team.
cut the breathwork section out and just
Yeah.
share the spiel part, and then people can do the breathwork part anyway on their own if they weren't here with this playlist.
And you can do it with the playlist. You can do it and in different ways. And once you guys are like open to this, you'll start seeing like, oh, that person teaches breath work. And it's like once we become aware of something that's supportive, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. And there's no right or wrong time or place to do this. All right, that's it on my end.
So yeah, I thought it would just be interesting if anybody wants to share any part of your experience. Heidi, remember we did that we did a little retreat like this the beginning of the year for some people.
Yeah. Is it Kalia? She's had her hand raised for a while. I'm curious.
Yeah, go ahead. You're the host, so you could.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No. You're good.
There you go.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. Oh my God. I've had such apprehensions about doing yet another course and another course that my husband doesn't know about, by the way. So so this was like my last ditch effort to really try to figure out what my thing is if I made a mistake, because I got another week to decide and da 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 da. And tears about to come, but I laid down to do the breath work, which I wasn't going to do at first, but I said no, participate. So I laid down. I just thought in the back of my mind, I didn't even think it. It just came up. Like, does anybody really love me? And I don't know why I would think that, because three wonderful children who love me. I know they do. My husband loves me, big family, but it just came to mind. And then in that instant, my dog nudged me right when I was trying to get into the rhythm. And I was like, who was that? And he looked around the corner and it was a look like, I'll always love you kind of thing. So I'm just wondering or where does something like that come from when I clearly know that I am loved, but it's just subconscious. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Well,
Like,
It,
go ahead. I would just say, and then Heidi, I'll let you if you have thoughts about it. But I've spent so much time working on all of these things, and what I have learned is, so for me, just for me personally, I know how to, unfortunately, I'm really good at abandoning myself. I'm really good. I'm like a ninja people pleaser. Like I can,
yeah.
I'm part of my success is I can make everyone so okay. And I really am genuinely so
Yeah.
engrossed in it.
Oh my
And
God.
then I wonder why I feel so like there is that question sometimes.
Depleted.
Depleted, or like, or like with my husband, like, does he really get it? And it's
Yeah.
because I'm abandoning myself. And so, I have had to learn that that's me not showing up for myself. And whenever I have a thought like that, it's about, and this is why breath work feels so good. It's like, oh, hey, Kath, like I'm going to give you some of my love and attention. And it's also this feeling of, you don't have to work so hard. You don't have to walk on your knees for 1,000 miles in the desert.
Mhm.
Like, you come home to you. And I think we've all just been so good at constantly giving away. It's like, you have those guys at Disneyland with all the balloons, and like by the end of the day, you've given them all away, and that's everything of you. And there's nothing left for yourself. And we need to cultivate, like, part of this program is like, what do I like? What makes me happy? What would be actually like I want to say no actually right now, because that would be loving to me. And it's okay if someone else has a feeling, because I'm going to allow them to be in charge of their reaction and they can own that. It doesn't have to be mine. But I would just say, like, it's about not leaving yourself and loving yourself, because everything is a hologram, right? Everything is a projection of how we feel about us. Not really, does anyone else love me? It's, do I?
Mm.
And love, by the way, in Hebrew comes from the word ahava, which is actually a verb. It's not a state of being. It's not an adjective. It's a verb. And so what are we doing to show love? What do we do to love ourselves? How do we love ourselves? Not in an adjective way, like, oh, that's nice. It's pretty. I like it. It's not an adverb. It's not an adjective. It's a verb. What do we do? How do we start to practice? And then what we practice, we get better at. How much have anybody in this room? Like, type a 1 if you feel like you could use practicing actively loving yourself more.
Absolutely.
Same here. Heidi, do you want to respond to that?
yeah, I think this is so normal, and I think we all do it. Like, our minds want to have reasons for things and like make sense of things, and so whenever I ask a question, if I'm not clear on where did this thought come from, or where is this emotion coming from, or why all of a sudden am I having this wave of tears, it doesn't really matter. Like, it doesn't really matter where that thought came from that you had. What matters is that when you opened your eyes, yeah, yeah, You got, oh, sweetheart. Yeah.
I've been trying for 40 years to find my reason. Why am I here? What am I doing? It. I'm tired, I think, of trying to find it. I just want to be.
There you go.
I
You were
just
in
want to
the
be.
right place. You were in the right place. You are going to go on this journey these next 12 weeks, and you are going to be held, and there's going to be a container, and you're going to go through processes, and you're going to break through. And when those questions come up, this goes for every single one of you, is why haven't I done it yet? Or why did it take me this long? You let that shit go. That's not going to serve you. What's going to serve you is looking up at your dog and going, I just got confirmation that I'm on the right path. That's all I need to know right now. And I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
All right.
Yes. Oh, that feels so much better.
That was
God.
so beautiful and so brave. And the thing is that you guys, we're all like this. We're called human beings. We feel a lot of things. And unfortunately, in our society, we don't have conversations like this. It's like,
Yeah.
just tell me about something on reality TV that you watched and don't do that, because what's that about? It's like, that's just a person having a real feeling. It doesn't need to be anything other than like, oh yeah, that's like me too. And you were just kind enough and courageous enough to share how you feel. And I think part of it is like, we just keep thinking we have to earn it. We have to keep finding it. We have to keep working for it. And it's out there and it's over there. And it's the unlearning of that. That's all. It's the unlearning of it. And then when we drop in, anything you need to know, it just comes like the easiest. You're like, why do I just feel like writing a children's book? Oh, that's my whole work now. Or why do I just feel like I just feel like I'm okay as I am. I'm just going to garden today. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just all in the not trying to find it and taking that pressure off of ourselves. Like, I think one of the things, Heidi, that you and I talked about when we did this as a virtual retreat at the beginning of the year is like, so much of what we experience has to do with our capacity for how worthy we are, how worthy we are. And we are so worthy. We are so worthy, but we don't necessarily feel that. And I know I've had to work to continue to open up my capacity to just receive and know that I'm worthy of receiving it.
Yeah.
And you just are. And you don't have to do anything to be worthy of receiving it. You've always been worthy since the moment you showed up here on this planet, period.
And it's a process. It's not an event, right? Like you
Yeah.
get to be really gentle with yourself that it's a process and to not expect yourself to get it. Like, day one, it's like, this is a unlearning. Yesenia, Kathy, you just let me know. Do you want me to make you the host? Let me make you the host.
No, I like what you're doing. It's great. Yesenia, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi guys. Hi everyone. Sorry. I know I'm about to cry.
Why would you apologize for having a normal human emotion? It's perfect.
So I mean I asked it in the questions as well in the chat. This is the second time that I do a breath work, and I felt my hands paralyzed for like a couple of minutes, and at some point it got like very scary. But like I had to say, I'm not gonna give into the fear. I know it's gonna go away. But that was just my experience with it. And when you said for us to scream, I couldn't scream, but I started crying. And I think what the change that happened to me with the meditation is that I'm becoming to realize that I can feel myself not letting myself experience joy, because I know that my parents suffer so much.
Yeah.
And like, I know that Kathy has said in one of her episodes that we feel like we're abandoning them. And so I have a hard time with that, because I know that the better me is someone who is joy, like has joy and energy and just is fun. But right now I can't be that person. And so I struggle with that.
It's
Yesenia,
so beautiful. Go ahead, Heidi. You go first.
I was like, sorry, two things. One, sweetheart, Gay Hendricks was on Kathy's podcast, and he has a book called The Big Leap, and he talks about how one of the four major reasons why we get stuck in our current level of wherever we are, we all have an inner thermostat, every single one of us. And that thermostat, there's a limit to how good we are going to let it get. And unconsciously, every time we go over that thermostat, some part of us says, I'm gonna unconsciously self-sabotage right now. And one of the ways that we get stuck is by feeling like we are gonna abandon our root, abandon our family, leave people behind. And if you think about it, it wasn't 150 years ago that if you left the tribe, if you stepped out among them, if you were willing to do something different, your livelihood, you literally were killed. So there is some part of our DNAs that are still running. Don't go out from among them. And for those of you that, those of us that have cultural, still very strong, like you need to be like this, you need to marry somebody of the same religion or the same faith or the same color. It's like generational, and it's close. It's really close. So my love, you are here. You are doing the work. You are present. And all you have to do is just keep breathing and keep telling yourself, I am safe. I am here. I am safe. Kathy knows she supported me. This has been one of my personal struggles. My sister and I live very, very, very different lives. And I felt like if I shine too bright, I'm going to leave her behind. Every time I shined brighter, she went lower. Addictions, darkness, horrible things. Who am I to be this person in this world when she's struggling so much? So you are doing it. And you just need to remind yourself every single time, grounding. I am safe. I'm held. I'm loved. My truth is, I'm not abandoning my family. I am a way shower. I am a light worker of this family. I am choosing to do things differently. I am rewriting generational patterns. And you keep doing that work, and you watch the impact that you're going to make on your entire family and everyone around you.
So beautiful. And Heidi, yeah, I'm not going to say any more details about anything, but Heidi and her sister are they're at least the outward ways they're living their life. You would never believe how much suffering and how much of the darkest things on this planet she has gotten herself. And this woman, she gets it. Rabbi Aaron is like a teacher who's like very, I have a few teachers who you'll hear about, through the course of people like Gay Hendricks, people have been on my pod, people, Seth Godin. There's so many people I learn from who I'm very close to. But Rabbi Aaron was here with us. He came twice on the podcast and once did like a special class just for the Made to Do This folks. He lives in Jerusalem. He's like a real true Kabbalist. Anyway, his parents are Holocaust survivors. And so he's talked about that exact thing. And he said, most of my life, I didn't allow myself much of a high vibration because I heard my mother screaming in the middle of the night, being woken up by nightmares. And I love my mother. And how dare I leave her when I would energetically start moving into a realm of joy. 5 seconds later, go, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't damp it down. And I'd find a way, he said, to kind of like, just stop. Just don't do that. That's not for you. Like, it's just stop. And he said, after she passed, I was looking through photos of her. And he said, I saw a photo of her holding my daughter. And that smile was so big. And he said, I was wrong. She let herself experience joy. And here I was doing what is the last thing that she would want, is for the Nazis not to have only tried to take her life and her entire family's, but then her kids and their kids. That's it. No joy. That's the last thing she wants. And he goes, and I was weeping looking at photos that I never saw with my own eyes, but I saw them in the photos. The joy, the deep giggling and joy I saw in the photos. And he said, I gave myself permission. And this really is, I've seen for myself, I will be in a flow and all of a sudden, oh my God, joy starts to feel really vulnerable and scary. Really, really scary. Like when I say scary, I get it. My legs actually start to hurt. And I'm like, can I just pick a fight with someone? Can I just do something bad for me? Like add more stress in my business. And then my team goes, why are you doing that? You don't need to take that on right now. I'm like, no. Believe me, I need to come back. Or like, I'll say something to my husband, I'll be like, why did you look at me like that? Let's fight about it for days. He's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I need it. Please, I got to come back down. And you should see what it's like in this side of the world, because my life has gotten pretty darn good and pretty darn expansive. And it's really scary. It literally, I'll be driving my freaking Range Rover and blasting like the Grease soundtrack, singing with my kids. And I'm like, we're going to get hit by a Mack truck. Like this can't happen. Like there's no way I can drive the ice blue Range Rover with the kids singing Grease songs, coming home from the beach and doing work I love. Like there's no way. Like I am playing with fire. And it's like literally my legs start to be like hurting me. And I'm like, no, Kath, you're going to do it. You're going in. Keep going. You're going to teach them. They can have all of it. They don't have to choose. And here's the thing. It's never all joy anyway. Because guess what? When you get beyond your own shit, the whole world is so broken. It's so broken. And then you go, now I got real problems I can focus on. And so that, by the way, that's how much of a sicko I am. As soon as I start lifting off the ground, I'm like, roll up the sleeves. Like, who else can I serve? What else am I doing? Like, let's go. And I'm like on the next mission. And that keeps me grounded because I'm like, yes, not so fast, Care Bear in the Cloudland. Like, it's actually pretty dark on its own. So maybe if you could just fill up your tank and get all yourself out of the way, you could actually deal with the real problems, the real issues. And that's where I spend my time. So believe me, there's plenty of them. And then you feel like, oh, good. Yeah, there's problems. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's problems to challenge me. And that's all fine. But the last thing I will say is this. We are not separate. We just look like we are. That's a lie. Don't buy it. You are not separate from me. We are energetic. So really, we're like pools of consciousness, right? Just sitting in bodies. But you know that we are. You know there's something going on that's reverberating beyond your physical form. So really, if we're all in a tide pool, if we're all in the ocean, if you get joyful, you're doing that for everyone else. You are expanding on behalf of the collective. So it's not about us. We're so self-involved. We are so self-obsessed as a species that we keep ourselves stuck thinking it's actually about us. It's not actually at all about us. When I actually let myself feel the joy, blast those Grease songs, get that Range Rover, doing something I love, eat that food I want to eat, juice myself up for a week, whatever makes me feel like I'm elated, I then get to not be a block for energy in the collective. Get it? Hear what I'm saying? We as a collective, you know that game where you hold hands and you pass the energy around the circle? When you let it come in, as opposed to going, "Ooh, I don't deserve it." Now you got to flow that out. Now that next neighbor, now that you picture your whole street filling up with little candy Valentine's hearts and puffy clouds, and it's pink hues and red hues. And then that flows out into the whole city, flows across the country, flows out across the oceans. This is the problem. This is the problem. We're so ready to have a conversation about the Middle East or Africa or whatever. How is your own physical? How are you? How are you actually doing, right? If we really want it to work over there, we have to allow ourselves to we are not here to be happy for ourselves anyway. We're not here for our own sake anyway. The last thing I'm going to say is this, because I like to bring in all of my tools. So in Jewish mysticism, the reason why we take a glass and we break a glass under the chuppah at a wedding and we say, Mazel tov. And it's in any movie, whether it's Vince Vaughn or anybody else, you've seen it, you know what it is, but you probably don't know why the heck they do it. Because the first step you actually take as man and wife is to remind yourself the world is broken. The glass shards are not complete. And your job in the world is not to look at each other and go, let's go off in a treehouse and enjoy each other for its own sake. Negatory. No. Be more whole by being together so you help to complete this world. You're not having this joy of finding a soulmate for yourself. It's let me have someone help me become my potential for the purpose of serving the world. That's the job. It's all about other people. Why do we eat a meal? So we have energy to then be a better mother, show up for our neighbor, not just to eat the Haagen-Dazs because it tastes good. So it's a little bit of a whoop-de-woo, isn't it? Because it's really about allowing the electric current to not stop with us, because then we are not playing our part, as opposed to the shame of, how dare you have joy? How dare you have more? Actually, that's selfish and all about an individual, not about a collective. Do you see that?
I get it.
Raise it
I
up.
get it. Thank you, Kathy.
This is where I like, just buckle up. This is what happens to me. But this is what you came for, right? This
Yeah.
is what you came for.
Thank you.
You
Um,
guys are about to go on a 12
Get
week
ready.
ride. I am so excited for you guys. You are in such good hands. Kathy has called me forward over and over and over again. And my God, just show up, right? Just keep showing up as you
Show up.
are. There you go. Buckle up.
Let's do one more person to make it complete. Set it
All right,
free.
one more. Justin Phillips. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Let's try that. Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for your patience.
Look at this
Oh,
brave
my.
man.
I know. Halfway through, I was like, I'm
No.
only saying her. I got to start saying
I don't
him.
feel brave right now. That was the most amazing energetic experience I've ever had. I bawled my head off. My wife was sending me tissues. Kathy, you know me. I sent a video to you.
He's the
And,
cutest. You don't even know this
my-
video. God, I wish I could share it, but I won't.
Yeah. Anyways, but that was amazing. And I'm a Reiki practitioner. I've had a couple of attunements, and I've never felt that much energy in my life. Breaking through the barriers like that. And one of the things about being a guy is that we have a lot of shame, a lot of things we think we should be doing for our families, and shame from our past, and we don't know how to get it out. And so we bottle it up and we bury it. And I see it with my dad and my brothers and the guys I work with every day at work. And so to be able to cry, whether I try not to or not, is pretty amazing. And so I experienced this to the 5-day challenge, heart breaking open already. I can't imagine what 12 weeks is going to bring, but I'm excited. And this is my wife Celeste. She's the reason why I'm in here. And so
Thank you.
yeah, it's experience. So it's going to be neat. I just want to say thank you, Heidi and Kathy, because to be able to feel that. And I was the energy I was feeling, the buzzing I was feeling in my hands and my feet and my head and everything. She put her hand above my heart chakra and she had to pull it back. She felt like she's being electrocuted because of the energy that was releasing. Wow. So I tell you, I cannot believe that. All the good things. Anyways, yeah, real men cry. We try. And G and Josh, there's a couple other guys in here right now. I want to get to know you guys too. And you can privately text me if you cried. So you don't have to tell anybody else except me.
All I have to say is Justin, A fucking men. We need you are the way we are going to heal this planet. All of us ladies, we have more direct access. We just do. We're more able to open our heart. And then you show up like, this is what we need. Thank you for being here. So inspiring, so good. More of you, please.
Talk about energy. Your energy is like the most delicious vanilla ice cream with the caramel. Like you're so yummy and love and strength, love and strength and wisdom. You are so great. I'm so graced with your presence. Thank you so much for being here with us. It's just so good.
thank
And
you.
I was going to say to you that Heidi and I witnessed, you guys, and I sound like I have 14 heads when I tell you this, but we witnessed, there were doctors from UCSD, physicians, people with medical evidence and research at the Joe Dispenza, and we watched an open-hearted vibration, like what Justin was just saying. We watched cancer patients. We looked at MRIs. They had them on the screen. You guys, I'm talking not like heal yourself. I'm talking like there was like all of the tracking and the data and all the people going, I don't believe it, but I'm a doctor. Let's measure it. Like I'm saying, we watched really dropping into an open-hearted, coherent place, people directing that energy at other people with all different kinds of major issues that medicine was failing to be able to change. But when that energy came into an energy being, we watched it change. We saw people get on stage and talk about their things. And then we saw the evidence of it. And we were just like, and at one point you're saying to yourself, why does he even have to prove it? And he always says, I want you to see it. Because otherwise you're just going to say like, you're just a sweet guy with a lot of big ideas. And he's like, I want to measure it. So let's look at it. But it is so realer than real. And then when you get that a person's energy could literally heal and love another person into life to change the other person's vibration that much that it actually changes their own biology and physiology and the way that their brain is sending signals to their cells, which starts to make different proteins, which actually saves their life. You're like, of course I could start a business. I'm a freaking healer machine. I'm a creative lightning rod. Get me at it. Let's go. We're just so not tapped into it. We're just cut off from it. And guess where the door is to it? Right here. Done. Let's go. This was so beautiful. Heidi, I'm going to give you whatever. Take a couple minutes and share whatever you want to share. We'll wrap it up.
I just feel blessed. Thank you for having me, and thank you all for showing up and for being willing just to play full out today. This is so, it's just this is the way. This is the way. Like we're all doing it, and I'm so excited to hear your success stories and what's next and all of that good stuff. So that's it. Thank you, Kathy. And thank you all for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for trusting me.
Thank you so much. All I'm going to say is yes. So we will be doing, Heidi has been generous enough to offer, we're going to do this together, the beginning of each of the months. So this was 1, there'll be 2 and then 3, right? There's 3 months of the program. It'll be the first Sunday evening-ish time like this of that month. And you can take it or leave it. And for some of you, people, whether you're here or not, if you're still here, I imagine it's not you, but for some of you, you might be like, this is not for me. And I just want those other pieces. Mm-hmm. You're going to get all those other pieces, but this is something that I would have done anyway tonight. So I figured I'll invite you to come with us. And I think, if you're open to it, there might actually be, it's actually exciting within our friend group, Heidi and I, we have a friend, Kara, who says, oh my God, it's actually so good and juicy when there's resistance to something. Because that means for you, the person with resistance, you get so much of a bigger breakthrough. So lucky for you, it's like, so if you do have resistance to it and you stay open and just trust that your intuition is pretty solid. And if you're here, you can trust yourself that you made a good choice and surrender any kind of like fear a little bit and just see if there's one little thing in it for you. I think this might actually be giant. I can tell you that I don't know of a program out there that offers you a path to really get the tangible stuff, but also really the bigger picture stuff. And And yeah, and who knows where you'll be in 12 weeks, you know, after this, what you'll want to pour more into. And you might want to just like spend more time with Heidi and do her thing or this thing or your own thing or whatever. But this is here for you and wanted to give you a taste of it. So thank you for being here with us tonight, but really being here. Wow. I will be with you
Good.
guys tomorrow, Mondays. You guys know we do Mondays at noon Eastern time. And we're going to dive in tomorrow to the beginning of the curriculum, and Melissa will be with us and we're going to get to work. Who's ready? Who's excited? Awesome. Cool. I'll see you guys at noon tomorrow. Thank you so
Bye,
much.
everybody.
Thank
See
you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You.
Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. It was
Thank you.
wonderful.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.